So now let's get to Xbox E3 predictions. Do you want me to start this one off?
Please,
Okay.
because like I said, E3 and me are not exactly friends, so it's not like I have much to say about it anyway.
Well, Microsoft has an exclusive problem right now. It's no secret to anyone. I mean, you look at what Sony. I remember last year, and you even pointed this out last year at that E3. Sure, a lot of the games Sony showed that year were not even coming out that year. I think maybe one of them were, one or two of them. But you were sitting there saying, "Here's our tentpole. Here's the games. You get a PS4. This is coming. This is what you're getting."
Right.
And those games are starting to drop. And Microsoft's problem was at the start of the generation, they came out strong. They had Rise. They had Dead Rising 3. They had Sunset Overdrive.
Right.
So they had a bunch of games come out, and then for the first 3-4 years of the Xbox One, you also got Gears 4. You got Halo 5, and you got those. But it seems like the last 2 years, it's been just empty. Sea of Thieves came out, and it was not received well by a lot of people. You just had State of Decay 2 come out, and it's not being received. It's being received worse than Sea of Thieves was. So you have these, quote-unquote big exclusives that have come out, that they at least advertised at previous E3s, like, hey, look at these games we got coming out. They've come out, and they haven't really been bangers, so to speak. And on the other side, both your competition, Nintendo and Sony, are coming out with bangers. Nintendo has Mario Odyssey. They have, they have, of course, Breath of the Wild when it first released. Sony has God of War. You have Spider-Man coming out, in the fall. You have actually coming out this month, Detroit Become Human. You have all these big exclusives. Whether these, like God of War was a success, but there's no guarantee that Detroit or Spider-Man will be a success because it's Spider-Man. But there might not be a guarantee that these will be great games, but at least that, hey, you got these big titles coming out, where with Microsoft, I feel like with the Xbox, they haven't really talked much about it. Crackdown at some point this year, but I think what people are looking for is more of they're looking for their Gears and their Halo, and they're looking for a game that's on that caliber, especially because last fall you had the Xbox One X come out, and so it's just like you got the power, you got the power now. Xbox Live is still the best online service compared to the others. Now, some people might argue that, but honestly, yes, I think Xbox Live, the features you get, the fact that it doesn't crash every couple of months like PSN does. Nintendo has a decent one, but it's nowhere. They're still starting out. So they got all this other stuff going for them, but when it comes to exclusive games, that's what I feel like this E3, that's my prediction is, or what I think they need to do is they need to come out, we need to know, at least have a teaser for Halo 6. It's been, since 2015?
Something like that.
Something like that.
I mentioned it, Halo 5 was the last Halo game, and it came out the original Xbox One, right? Before they even released the S?
Yeah, before they even released the S. It was early on in the generation. I would even say, they've actually given an extra year for the Gears studio and the Halo studio to give an extra year to work on these games, which is good. So we might not get a Halo 6 at the end of this year, but at least show something. Show some game. I actually think Halo 6, it's been in development for quite a while.
So what about Anthem?
Anthem? Anthem's a multi-plat.
Did they? Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay, so it's not exclusive?
No, it's not exclusive. But I do think, I'm going to get to that in a minute, I do think that's going to be marketing rights, meaning when they do commercials and extra bonus content, it'll be on the Xbox first. But I think with Halo, it should be far enough, in my opinion, in development to where you at least show a trailer of some gameplay, give you an idea of where the story's at. I think that should be, for Halo 6, and a Gears 5 teaser, because Gears, it's been a couple of years since we got a Gears game, so I think a Gears teaser, show some Halo 6 gameplay footage, show what if you have any other exclusives that you've kind of been keeping hidden, now's the time to show it. Who cares, if you only have a couple of big exclusives coming out at the end of this year, show what all the other big stuff you have coming out in 2019.
Well, they got to bring that car out on stage.
Oh yeah, I forgot that car. Yeah, it's confirmed. Forza Horizon 4. These games come out, periodically now. There's rumors of a Fable 4.
Really?
There's all these rumors floating around, but we don't know what's true and what's not. But I do think Microsoft needs to pull a Sony, and yeah, maybe it's to be announced. Maybe we don't have a solid date, but at least you're showing people what they're going to get or what they can expect from your platform, because right now all you're giving them is, we have the most powerful console, our games play in 4K, we have the best online service, and while all that's great, and you can probably go, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting my multiplats on the Xbox because they run better than on the PS4, but, people are looking for those exclusives too, people are wanting to, well, when's the next Halo, when's the next Gears, when's the next, when are you going to give us something new? And I think Microsoft should do that. So those are my predictions, or what I would suggest. I wouldn't say predictions, but I think that's what they should do, and it's a high likelihood that they should, because if this E3 is another E3 where it's a mediocre job and they don't really show much, then I'm convinced they're packing it in and they're doing what they did with the original Xbox, and that's like, well, we're going to push this to the side, and 2020, here's the next Xbox, because
Right.
That's what they did with the original Xbox. They tried for about 3 years, and then they're like, well, we couldn't eat into the PS2's market share, so we're going to give up on this console and kind of hold back for the for the 360. That's what they did, and that might be what, if they don't show anything, that's probably what they're doing here, and that's sad, because, I've enjoyed my Xbox, so.
There's still a lot of life left in it for you.
Yeah, especially since the X just came out last
Right.
fall. So it's just kind of like stupid to just kind of go, well, I'm just going to hold back on that.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you think what Xbox should do?
I don't have much to say on the subject. We talked about when they released the X, they released it sort of in a vacuum where it wasn't like, this is the X and this is the game you should play on the X.
Yeah.
It was more like, this is the X and all the games will play better on it. It
Yeah.
has HDR capability, but not every game supports it. So I think they'll probably push a lot more into every game coming out. This next cycle is going to be HDR compatible. They're probably going to push for integration with like their AI or their VR or their AR. I really think that they're going to take the Xbox One X in the AR direction, because one of the things they're doing with HoloLens and their workspace environments and their developer kit that they released last few months ago for the AR, I think it's going to tie into the Xbox One X eventually. And I think they're going to do some AR stuff to compete with the VR. They didn't do it last year, which was my prediction, but I think this year they might be ready to finally drop that bombshell and say, we have an AR kit, we have some hardware you can buy, and these games are going to release on it. So if anything, I would say that would be the surprise announcement, that they're going to release some games that are ready to run on a dedicated hardware that is compatible with the X.
Yeah.
And that would be something that would take it a new direction that I think would be interesting, because basically the Xbox One X is a VR-ready PC, and I think that if they went into that AR field, they could do a lot with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're ready to take that risk.
And they should be. And Sony, from everything I read, VR hasn't done like gangbusters, but it also hasn't done terribly.
Right.
It's been like steadily.
Well, there's a lot of things
moving.
holding VR back when people think about putting that thing on their face and not being able to see
Yeah.
anything but that screen, and
And the cables that have to hook into the console.
cables and the head tracking might make some people sick and stuff. But with
Yeah.
AR, you have an augmented experience instead of a virtual experience. So you would have a tinted view of the actual world. It would eliminate some of that tracking issue where you can actually still fixate on space and get your bearings if you start to feel woozy.
And
So
I
I think
think
that might help, but I would love to see it integrated into the game space. I haven't seen it that much.
And I actually hope Microsoft would do that, because I do feel that Sony has proven, maybe it's, right now not, a huge market, but they've proven that the VR market, there is a market there.
Right.
Because it hasn't bombed. It's been doing decently
Sure.
well, So it's something that they could, get into and compete in. I guess we'll just end it on that. Microsoft, please show us some exclusives that are coming out this year and next year, and even I would even say tease and kind of give a hint at what might be in 2020. That's all we really want from you is just show us the games that are coming out at the end of the year and show us the games that are coming out next year, because that's what your competition does, and not just Sony. Last year Nintendo showed Metroid Prime 4, and it was just a little teaser that I could create on my computer. It was just a logo that appeared, Metroid Prime 4. We still don't know anything about it, but people are excited for that, and they're probably, they're buying a Switch for other games too, but they know, hey, I'm getting a Metroid Prime 4 at some point.
Right.
So I'm going to get this at some point. And that's what I think Microsoft needs to do instead of doing this thing where they keep, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, seems to, especially since Scalebound was canceled, seems to have taken this, well, we're not going to announce anything until we know absolutely for sure it's coming out. And while that works good for you in the fact that you don't have to delay a game or cancel a game and it's not, publicly known at least,
right.
It also, people start going, well, you don't have any games coming out because you're not showing, you're not teasing, and that's, you got to have some of that showmanship, and that's my hope, for Xbox. So those are the two routes. You can show us, kind of what you got and what's coming ahead in the next couple of years, or you're going to pull what you pulled with the first Xbox, where you just kind of push it to the side and start building up for your next console, which would, I think, be a terrible idea. So,
whichever way, I'll be reading the coverage 2 days after it happens. I won't be up to the minute, like live, checking out the live tweets.
You won't be like me rushing into a room with a camera. Here's my, hot take reaction.
Probably not.